Jelly Roll and Ernest?
No, like Ernest goes to jail.
No,
Ernest?
that guy's dead. That guy's dead.
I
That
was
guy's
like,
dead.
what the fuck, dude?
That's why he wasn't in Toy Story 4 because he was dead. But it's a good interview.
Wait, excuse me. Who is Ernest the voice of in Toy Story?
He's he's Slinky Dog.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he's Slinky Dog.
Good call, man. Good
Thank you.
call.
Yeah,
well, hey everybody, welcome to Rally Town Sports. This is what happens when Bobby isn't here. He's got the night off. Bobby had an early morning with work, so we gave him the night off. Does anybody have Bobby's picks, by the way? You've got them. Todd's got them. Perfect.
Because I don't.
Perfect. So Bobby's already made his picks. This is week 18, boys. This is it. This is it. This is the finale. We had some shakeup into the standings. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Obviously, we'll roll through all of the games in week 18, talk about any of the highlights that we had last week in week 17, and some lowlights for a couple of us here tonight. But hey, it is what it is. Boys, how was your New Year's, first and foremost?
It was great. Super low key.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Just hung out. We watched football, drank beers.
That sounds very American.
I fell asleep at 12:03 a.m. It's the most magical evening.
Yeah, because you 10 years ago would hate yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you guys get like Facebook memories, Snapchat memories of years past.
Mm.
And New Year's Eve's a good one for me. And I'm just rolling through like in chronological order. And then in 2020, December 31st of 2021 takes a crazy hard turn because Declan was 10 months old or nine months old. And last 2 years, there's no photographic memories of that. Like, holy shit.
Don't you wish that was the case for like the other ones though, where you really wish you didn't have those pictures out there?
Oh, dude, there's a few. There's a few that sneak up in a Snapchat memory where you guys are very familiar with like lights are on but nobody's home look that you get when you get drunk. Yeah. Mm. And there's a few pictures where I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't even remember taking this. And then it pops up every year and I'm like, oh shit,
There's a photo that pops up on my memories that I send to Aaron every year that it pops up because it's so fucking funny. And Aaron is looking into the wells of my eyes that are no longer eyes. They're deep black holes of abyss. And we're just standing in a bar like this. And he's holding my face and I'm holding his face. And we're just like, ah! It's like, nobody's home, bud.
Yeah. That's a Taco Bell night.
Absolutely. All right. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys had a splendid New Year's Eve. If you are just now joining us for the first time, do us a solid. Like the stream, share the stream. That's how we get out there. That's how we grow the Rally Town Sports community. If you can't stick around the whole show, don't worry. We're everywhere you find your podcast. Give us a follow on Spotify, Apple Music as well. Gentlemen, Week 17 brought us some twists and turns. Anything crazy that popped up for you? I think there's one that's super obvious. Obviously, the Eagles dropping one to the Cardinals. What's going on? Yeah. The Cardinals beating two of the powerhouses out of the NFC this year.
Yep.
In the words of Kenan Thompson, what's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I know we'll get into it. I dove back in and listened to our Over Under podcast from earlier this year, listened to both the AFC, the NFC. And what was interesting is that was one of the points we brought up at the beginning of the year was we were like, yeah, I mean, 4.5 is pretty low, but unless Kyler comes back, which is kind of what we were saying. And, he's kind of here and he's certainly playing a lot better. And they're actually surprisingly playing for this coach.
Yeah.
Which I never really expected them to do.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan Gannon came out after the game too and said, Kyler's the guy. We're sticking with one. So, and that's a top 5 pick for them next year, pretty much no matter what, right? Coming up in April. And there's a couple of teams that are looking for some quarterbacks in those top 5. So I could very easily see Arizona, doubling up and dropping down a little bit in the draft and grabbing another first round pick, maybe a pick for next year. Cause you're not, really, fellas, 6 or 7 weeks ago, we're talking about them drafting number 1 overall. right? I mean, it was a battle between the Bears getting the Panthers pick and the Cardinals. Right. Who's going to win? Who's going to win 3 games or less? And it's turned out that the Cardinals can beat good teams.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that's shaken out, but it's also interesting to see how it'll play out into the draft as we look. Obviously, a big talent coming out that's not a quarterback, with everybody on their eyes on Marvin Harrison Jr. as well, would be an asset to most teams in the league, if not all teams in the league. So while, a trade makes sense if you can get a nice return on it, you don't have to fall too far back. I definitely think that there are some teams out there in the league that'll just be like, I'm going to stay put and I'm going to get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. Chicago could be one of those teams at number 1 overall.
Absolutely.
They really could.
Yeah. What do you guys think they should do? I mean, we're seeing that's one of the surprising things too the Bears beat the brakes off the Falcons and looked pretty good doing it. So now the question becomes for the Bears, what do you do here is you kind of tripped into this pick a little bit. Obviously they made the trade to go down. But I don't think they ever anticipated, getting the first overall pick from the Panthers pick here.
No, absolutely. You got Chance coming out at Soldier Field. We want Fields. Easy to say that when things are going well. Where were those Chance when things weren't going so well?
What happened first 10 weeks? People were booing him off the field, and now all of a sudden he's the second son for Chicago.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. Where is their other pick at? Where is that kind of stacking up at this point?
11th or something ish.
Yeah, because they could finish the year 7 and 9 and draft anywhere from like 10 to 14. Depends on the NFC South.
I don't want to speculate too much as to what the Bears are going to do until the season is over, and I can kind of see where everybody lines up. But I would say that if you can stay in the top 3 and trade back and get an additional first, or maybe a first next year, maybe a second this year, that would be a hell of a deal, especially if you can stay there, get a top playmaker, get a top defensive player as well, still in the top 10, top 15. Yeah, that'll be something that we're absolutely going to have to take a look at. Any other shocking developments out of last week's game? I mean,
we can talk about the Lions Cowboys game.
All right, let's get into it. Let's just get into it right now, boys. Todd, go ahead. Give it. You got the floor. Give us your perspective on what happened.
I don't blame the NFL for doubling down on themselves. Right. And then you guys have seen the video that came out yesterday of this is how you call yourself out as an eligible receiver. This is not how you do it. And then it's just the same thing happening twice. And you're like, what's the difference here? And then, but if you're an organization, you're backing those officials no matter what, right? You can't turn your back on the officials after that's been the hot button topic of the whole entire year.
Sure.
But to dictate the outcome of a primetime game where it matters for seeding, with a lot of eyes on that game, if the NFL doesn't make some sort of official adjustment for these guys after this year, it's just going to turn into chaos. There's too many good cameras on the field, fellas. There's too many good cameras on the fields that are just catching every mistake, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. It happened in baseball. That's why the robot umpire is in existence.
Yeah,
this was the demise of umpires in baseball.
It's funny you bring up baseball, Todd, because that was one of the parallels I wanted to kind of bring into this conversation. It's one thing to get the call wrong. It's one thing to cost the Lions the game, but then for the NFL and the Referees Association to just double and triple down on it, oh no, this is your fault. I'm immediately reminded of Jim Joyce blowing the perfect game for Colorado or whatever in the Tigers.
Yeah, the city of Detroit has just had bad luck with poor officiating.
But what did Jim Joyce do in the following moments?
He immediately owned up to it.
He owned it. He was crying about it.
Overly emotional. Yeah,
I'm overly emotional. He's like, I can't believe I cost that kid, a chance at a perfect game. I cost that kid a chance at history. Now, granted, the stakes weren't as high as necessarily that, but these are playoff, ramifications that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And honestly, all that I needed was the referee to go, we made a mistake. Unfortunately, we can't really do anything about it now. And I think that would be I think we would be fine with moving on from it. But yet again, it's another week where the referees are the story of the game, and that's the last thing I want.
Yeah,
I've got a hot take here. Shocking. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. It's no secret to anyone, I think, that's watching that the Detroit Lions were trying to disguise as to who was reporting.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to be secretive about who was reporting. There's no reason for there's no reason for Penei Sewell to be walking over to the referee at all in that. So you've got two guys walking up to the ref. You've got one guy running on the field that's reported multiple times in that day, running onto the field at that time. So, yes, while this was a botched call by the referees, absolutely botched calls by the referees. Taylor Decker even said, I walked up to the official and I said, report. And then I turned around and walked away. That's what he did. So there was some kind of gamesmanship going on from Detroit in trying to, hey, I'm not going to go, hey, I'm reporting. They were trying to not do that. And I get the reasoning why. I'm not arguing that point. But if you're going to walk that line, you run that risk. You absolutely run that risk. So
yeah, but Dan Campbell at the beginning of the game told the refs that. Like he's like drew up the play, showed the refs before the game, like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. And they're like the refs in that situation can say, hey, you can't do that. Hey, that, like, and that just
right. No, I I'm not disagreeing with that either. What I am saying is that Taylor Decker could have been more flamboyant, I guess is the word, about the fact that he was reporting. He could have done more. And I that's not justifying what happened, but I am saying that like a line was walked and they were on the wrong side of that line at that time. He didn't do enough, I guess. I'm just playing devil's advocate, but because I think there is some validity to it. I'm not saying Taylor Decker owns that. I'm not saying that he is like responsible for it in any way, but he kind of is, is what I'm saying. Further, that loss is not on the fact that Taylor Decker didn't get called a report. There's zero. It's inexcusable for the Lions to be backed up to the 7-yard line and Dan Campbell continues to go.
It's just like, all right, we're going to still go for it.
Then an offside penalty. They're back to the 2. You're going to run a third 2-point conversion play?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Insane.
That's crazy.
That is horrible decision-making on the part of Dan Campbell. You kick the extra point and you hope you go to overtime. Let's not forget, Dallas still had all 3 timeouts, or was it 2 timeouts?
Two timeouts.
In 23 seconds. Let's not forget that.
I completely 100% agree with what you just said after the fact of the play. The other thing to note is because over the PA speaker, they said 70 is the one who announced as eligible. I don't necessarily know that they get that 2-point conversion anyway, because had the right person been called, the eligible receiver, is Dallas going to cover that guy in that situation?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different things. I still think Detroit got screwed over in the situation.
100%.
Of course. 100%. But I agree with you on the points following the penalty for sure. The stubbornness to still go for it was ridiculous.
Insane. Couple of comments coming here when I get into it. Always appreciate it. If you're just joining us for the first time, jump in the chat. Say hello. We love you guys. Make sure to like and share the stream as well. Tez saying, Corey, teams try to disguise it all the time. It's been happening since the beginning of football. No argument there, Tez. No argument there whatsoever. My point being, you play stupid games. Sometimes you win stupid prizes. Ryan coming with a comment, like the Bengals intentional grounding call, for example. Dude, this was I don't know. Aaron, were you watching the Bengals Chiefs game at all? I'm not sure if you
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what it is about the Chiefs that just really pissed me off. It's because they're good, probably has something to do with it.
Sure.
But the fact that they constantly seemingly get these kind of breaks in pivotal points, usually against my team, is infuriating.
Yeah, it's emotionally taxing.
So how about the fact that they called that last year in the AFC Championship game when Joe Burrow got blown up? Yep. They called intentional grounding, and they did it again this year. And that was a pivotal point in the game. Like, hats off to the Bengals. Like, they went into Arrowhead, were leading at halftime.
They made it a game, man.
They made it a game. They played great.
Yep.
But that is a huge moment in that game to where you're behind the sticks for the rest. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul and a loss of downs.
And you lose it down. Yeah. That's
Huge.
a killer.
Yeah.
That was a killer. And befuddling to anybody nationally watching that game. Twitter was like, how? When?
And it's not even like it was like there's nobody in the area. Joe Mixon's 5 yards from where the ball landed. This is it was fucking insane. I cannot wait for Travis Kelce to retire, be a stay-at-home dad, Patrick Mahomes to go into fashion. I don't know. Fuck that guy. Anyway, that is your
low impact. Patrick Mahomes low impact on that game, by the way. Isaiah Pacheco was
I'd say on the season, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Isaiah Pacheco was the leader of that. If Isaiah Pacheco doesn't play a third of the way he plays, that we're talking about an entirely different outcome of that game.
Yeah, fair. If DJ Reader's on the field, this could be a different.
Way different.
But it wasn't, and it wasn't. So
yeah,
that's just the way. In the words of Bruce, the cookie crumbles. All right, Week 17 recap, boys. We had some movements in the standings. We have a new basement dweller at 160-96, posting a 10-6 week. Bobby Layman is back in the basement due to the fact that the man who is now sitting in third place had a 13-3 week. Give it up for Ty Gottschall, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't stop these shoulders from moving, fellas. It's too hot.
It's phenomenal.
It's too hot. It's a hot week.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Sitting 2 games off the lead currently is Todd. Picking up 1 game himself, posting a 12-4 week, Mr. Aaron Mailing at 164-92. And then you have me. I posted an 11-5 week. I am at 165-91.
I thought you were 2 games up going into last week.
I was, and you got 1 back on me.
Ah, got it.
Yeah. Yep. So, hell of a week. Hell of a. Let me pull it up here where the discrepancies were last week. I got it marked here. So, Aaron, I took the Jets. You took the Commanders.
Almost worked out in your favor.
Sorry, wrong week. Sorry. Aaron, I took the Bears. You took the Falcons. Let's see here. No discrepancies.
It was all the 4:00 games.
Did you take the Bengals?
I did. I took the Chiefs.
I did. Oh, so let's see here.
I had Broncos over Chargers.
Let's see.
Chiefs over Bengals and Steelers over Seahawks. Yeah, so that's 2.
Yeah, that's 2 back. So we got a tie here.
That's what I thought.
What did I? Yeah, I must have the Steelers and Seahawks.
I'm just kidding.
No, I left it all on Bobby's sheet to make sure he could check my work here. So no. Aaron's sitting at I'm sitting at 164-92 as well. We are all tied up. Is that Steelers win? It absolutely was. You were a lone wolf on the Steelers there.
Does that mean I'm 1 game out of first place then?
It means you're 1 game out of first place. Phenomenal.
It was 9 games back at week 10.
Listen, Bobby's only 4 games out, so it's not crazy. Nothing's crazy here.
Nope.
Like this isn't anything out of reach for anybody.
So we also have unless you want to wait till the end here, but I figured just to recap as we did the over-unders.
Okay.
At the beginning of the year here, we obviously have a couple things that are still going to happen in week 18, but if any of you weren't listening to us at the beginning of the year, we do a season-long, over-under pod based on the over-unders from Vegas. We do that off of a point system where we each have to do a lock for each division. Where you get 2 points for guessing a lock, you get -2 points for missing a lock, 1 point for getting one right, and then you don't get anything for missing one. That's not a lock. So on a locks perspective, Bobby is sitting at 3-4 with 1 game to go, which is Jacksonville. He's got the over. Corey on his locks 4-1 with 3 games to go.
Oh,
those
shit.
are the over for Chicago.
Oh, come on, Bears.
The under for Buffalo. And the over for Denver. Todd is done with his locks. He is 4-4.
All right, Todd.
And I am 4-2 with my locks with 2 to go. The discrepancies being the over for Seattle, the over for Jacksonville. But going to the point system, Bobby has 7 points. Corey has 14 points. Todd has 8, and I have 11.
Ooh.
Just to go through it again real quick. NFC and AFC overalls, Bobby 7-5 with 4 games to just be decided week 18. Corey 6-6 in the NFC. Todd 6-6. Both of you guys with 4 to go. I'm also 6-6. We didn't do too well this year, guys. The AFC, we did pretty bad. A lot of this is injury related, but Bobby 5-8 with 3 to go. Corey 6-7 with 3 to go. Or I'm sorry. Yes, 6-7 with 3 to go. Todd 6-7 with 3 to go, and I'm 5-8 with 3 to go.
So 5 starting quarterbacks from week 1 are still starting.
That's
in the
insane.
AFC.
When they threw that chart up in the Sunday after in the Bengals game, I was like, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Has it ever happened that way before, fellas? Can you remember a time where there were this many?
I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot remember where this many starting quarterbacks have been out. It's been crazy. And what I'm hoping is not an overcorrection of the rules in order to prevent this, because none of this was like dirty stuff. Like Aaron Rodgers, freak injury. Kirk Cousins, freak injury. Derek Carr, just excessive contact from playing football. Like his offensive line sucked. Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones. Weird tackle. Daniel Jones, ACL, I think, a neck brace.
No, his is a neck injury off of just having to scramble for his life.
Yeah.
35% of the
none
time.
of this is like most of this, if not any of this, is due to the way the game is organized. It's just the nature of football and
nature of the beast. It's
just the way it's kind of shaken out. So,
real quick before we move on, I just have a couple other notes here that I found very interesting going through them. Our worst picks as a group, meaning we all agreed and got them wrong.
Right.
We were all on the under for Las Vegas. That's a loss. We were all on the under for Baltimore. I think that was more wishful thinking than anything else.
Yeah.
Well, I very clearly remember the conversation with Cora and I being this is a 9-7 or 13-3 team.
Yeah,
there were 13-4 team.
There were a lot of really good comments that came out of it. Listening back to it, Todd, you were heavy on CJ Stroud. I consider that a win. And like absolutely correct. You were beating the drum on that.
I also was very low on the Browns, and I'm willing to admit that I was wrong on that.
So I have that coming up here. Corey was very heavy on Brandon Staley is absolute dog trash. He said first coach fired, which it was close. McDaniels, but I still consider that close. Pretty much a win for you in terms of what you were saying.
I'll take
it. The other one that stood out was where was it? Oh, I'll get to it here in a second. So we were also all on the over for Cincinnati. We were all on the under for Tampa Bay, and we were all on the over for Minnesota. So those were some bad picks. Wow. But
those are all that. Well, Cincinnati and Minnesota very heavily injury related.
I would agree
because we had some good picks as well.
Imagine Kirk Cousins was having arguably one of the best years of his career.
And their defense is playing good football.
Very good football. Imagine him with Justin Jefferson now.
We're not that dumb.
Yeah.
We all hit the Patriots under, the Atlanta under, the Giants under, and the Washington under.
We know bad ball.
We know bad football.
Yeah.
In play for the last week is Jacksonville, Denver, Arizona, Philly for us all to be there. Last thing I want to shout out are the Lone Wolf wins and losses. Lone Wolf wins here. Bobby was the only one on the Detroit over this year.
Hey, Bob.
Nice.
Hey, boy, Bobby.
I was the only one on the Packers over.
Nice.
Todd hit the Houston over solo.
Nice job, Toddy.
Corey hitting the Chargers under solo. I hit the Jets under solo, and Corey hit the Colts over solo.
All right.
Lone Wolf losses. I, for some reason, took the Panthers over. That was dumb. And to add insult to injury, I took the 49ers under. I was the only one to take the Titans over as well. So I kind of had some Lone Wolf debacles. Corey, the only one on the Dolphins under, which of course is a loss. And Todd, as you mentioned before, the only one on the Browns under.
I was way off. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. That was a real cold take on my part.
Yeah, I loved listening to it, actually. I was getting juiced up.
Yeah.
You're like, they're assuming the division, boys.
I thought so. They have been playing that way with Deshaun Watson. I think they play better without him, but we can have that conversation at another time.
So I thought it'd be interesting to highlight that going into the last week as we do make our last week 18 picks.
That's good. So all knotted up at the top between Aaron and I. Todd, 1 game back. Bobby finds himself 4 games off the lead.
Bobby guessing ties this week.
Yeah, Bobby's guessing ties. Love it. Love it. All right, boys, without further ado, it is time for the grand finale of our NFL Pick'em. Getting things started on Saturday at 4:30. We've got a beautiful AFC North matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. One team has nothing to play for. The other team has everything to play for.
Yep.
Pittsburgh looking to get things going, keeping the hot hand, I believe, with young Mason Rudolph going into Baltimore. While Lamar Jackson, I believe, will be taking a seat as the Ravens have already clinched the number 1 seed. Interesting. We'll kick this thing over to Todd for Bobby's pick here.
So Bobby's pick for this game is Steelers over Ravens. Doesn't matter for Baltimore. Basically verbatim what you just said in a different paraphrasing. But his last comment is, if the Ravens win, it'll truly show how deep this team is.
Interesting point. So who do they got taking snaps for Baltimore, Aaron? Snoop
Huntley. Yeah,
Snoop Huntley.
All right.
Who's
Aaron,
beaten the Steelers before?
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron, who you got?
Yeah, I this just has all the makings of, I don't know how it's going to happen, but the Steelers are going to somehow be in the playoffs. It happens every year. We do this every year. I'm going to take the Steelers for the simple fact that, like you guys just said, they're playing for everything here. They're going to be going 110 miles an hour. That's not to say that the Ravens can't win this game. In fact, one of these quarterbacks is a Pro Bowler, and it's not Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Flag football champion 2023.
I'll take the Steelers though. They've been playing better football of late. Surprisingly, you can question why Mason Rudolph wasn't in there sooner. The other great thing listening back to the Over Under podcast was just Bobby glowing about Kenny Pickett. Really enjoyed that.
Here's the thing about Kenny. Bobby didn't even want him. No, we're all due whoppers because the Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
He said on a live stream, if the Steelers draft Kenny Pickett here, I will buy you all whoppers. I have yet to taste the sweet flame broiled deliciousness of a whopper from Bobby. So no reason for me to fade you here, Aaron. I'm with you here. I think the Steelers have a lot to play for. I think it's more than just Lamar that we're going to see on kind of a pitch count, snap count, if you will. I think we're going to see some key players for the Ravens, getting that extra week of rest.
Yeah, what do you think about a 2-week layoff though?
Yeah. I mean, it can only help, right?
It hasn't necessarily in the past for teams.
And the Ravens aren't necessarily a team that performs well in the playoffs at times. So
be interesting.
I don't know. Todd, who you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers here too, boys. I think Corey, you brought up an interesting, or Aaron, sorry, you brought up an interesting point of why they didn't go to Mason Rudolph sooner. I mean, they could be at they could be at 12 wins after this week if they play Mason Rudolph and those back-to-back bad weeks where they were trying to slap dick around with Trubisky and Pickett, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked with the lack of offensive production and still winning potentially 10 games.
So there's a hypothetical scenario to where the Steelers get in and first week they're going to Buffalo. Mason Rudolph takes him into Buffalo and wins. What are you doing next season?
You trade for a different quarterback?
Is Mason Rudolph not the guy? Did he not earn it winning a playoff game on the road against Buffalo? It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Another playoff implication game next on the slate. This one on Monday Night Football on Saturday. I love it, by the way. I love that we get Joe Buck and Troy Moore. I think they're probably one of the best duos that are doing it. I enjoy Joe Buck. I don't know how you guys feel about him, but I think he does a great job.
He's come around. He's come around
100%. 100%.
I used to hate listening to him call baseball games because I thought he was so trash at keeping tracking himself through the flow of the game without busting it up with just boosting his own ego. But he's great with football.
Honestly, I love Joe Buck in baseball because
it's better. He's better now.
He has mastered the art of the silence in broadcasting.
It used to not be that way, though.
No,
it used to not be that way.
Because I'm with you. Part of the reason I hated him was because of baseball, because of the 2016 World Series, Indians Cubs, and the whole time it was like he would go on about 20 minutes about the Cubs and go, and the Indians. Yeah. He'd be like, all right, cool, thanks, man. It's like Kyle Schwarber, he'd just suck him off for 15 minutes and be like, Jose Ramirez is good. All right, and here's the pitch.
Yeah, dude, that's how I feel about Tony Romo. Literally every time the Bengals play and Tony calls one of those games,
it's a nightmare.
So they were like, Jim Nantz was like, these two teams here have accounted for the AFC in the last 4 Super Bowls. And Tony Romo is like, yeah, that's like saying me and Tom Brady have a combined 7 Super Bowl wins. I was like, Tony, you're a piece of shit, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you suck.
You didn't need to say that. You're just being a cockhead at this point. Absolutely. All right. So anyway, back to it. We got the Texans headed on the road to Lucas Oil Stadium to take on the Indianapolis Colts and Gardner Minshew. Both teams overdoing it, I would say, exceeding expectations this year. Colts currently sit with a playoff spot. Texans on the outside looking in. I'll go ahead and lead this one off. CJ Stroud is back. The Texans are winning this football game, boys and girls. There's no way I'm betting on the Colts to sweep the Texans, which they obviously beat them in Houston at the beginning of the season. I think they look to get one back. I think the Texans play some motivated football and go out and get this dub. Todd, what are you thinking?
Yeah, this is a completely different Texans team. You got to think early in the season, it's new coach, new quarterback, very, very mediocre chemistry, and that's a completely different franchise right now. I mean, if you're a Texans fan, you kind of get to buckle in and enjoy the ride for at least a couple of years, right? Like you got a gift out of CJ Stroud exceeding expectations pretty much across the board. Then you've also gotten guys like, unfortunately, Tank Dell going out, but then you've gotten a guy like Nico Collins who kind of showed the flash in the pan last year when, I guess, somewhat applicable, and has capitalized on getting the ball a ton. And Devin Singletary being used properly for the first time in his career has turned into another contract for him, essentially. Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. I think that this is a perfect Saturday night game for Week 18, fellas, with the implications, and we're gonna see some touchdowns. We're gonna see a lot of touchdowns in this game. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is the constant back and forth in this game. And I'm taking the Texans.
Aaron, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, this would be one to take the other side for, the pick'em game. The problem is I wouldn't believe in it. So I just can't. And what's weird is this Week 18, which is going to decide this whole thing. And I'm glad we basically have a 3-man race here. How far back was Bobby again? How many games?
4 games.
4. Okay, so I mean that would be a hell of a feat if you were able to do it. So, but we'll call it a 3-man sack race here. You have so many guys that aren't going to be playing this week. This game isn't one of them, but it's really, really hard to handicap these games. Based on those type of things. I'll tell you this, if Jacksonville loses, the winner of this game is, essentially, excuse me, who the Browns are going to play. Mm-hmm. So I have, a lot of interest in this. And I can tell you, of the 3, last one I want to play is Houston. Yeah. We got him and we took care of him, but that was without CJ Stroud, and that's a whole different team. I think Houston with CJ Stroud has a chance to win this division, depending on what happens Sunday. And I love that this is the Saturday night game because now you're going to have that on your mind when the Jaguars play the Titans.
Interesting. Who did Bobby take?
Bobby's got the Texans over the Colts. He said Stroud's dominating in this affair.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, boys, we've said it before. When we run chalk, it doesn't go good. We are chalk through the first day of football.
And this is going to be a wild, like we just said, wild week with, so-and-so isn't playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Moving on. First game on the Sunday slate, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers looking for a winning season under the helm of Baker Mayfield, going into Bank of America Stadium, taking on Bryce and the Panthers. If you're headed to the game in Carolina, keep your head up. Look out for flying beers. Obviously, the owner of the Panthers being fined $300,000 for throwing a beer at a fan that was talking shit. In case you were wondering, with someone of his net worth, that is like finding the average American $1.77. So I'm sure he learned his lesson.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: I'd still hate if someone was like, "Hey, you have to pay $1.77 for that." I'd be like, no.
I'd be like, well spent.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm just kidding.
No, dude. Like, here's the thing: is like, if I was him, and frustrating season to say the least, and somebody's talking shit, it's hard to say that I wouldn't at least really consider doing exactly what he did. But here's the other thing: I am also not a billionaire and not an owner of a football team.
I was going to say, you also don't own a franchise in the largest professional sports organization in the continental United States.
I mean, you guys know who this guy is, though, right? There was a guy, as the old Goldman Sachs owner or whatever principal, didn't promote him. Years later, he bought his house off of his ex-wife to tear it down. That's who Tepper is. And
that's
then
real. That's a real story.
Yeah, that's a real story. And then he also
don't make me respect this guy.
Is being quoted. He has been quoted as saying, "There have been times that I've been at a restaurant where I feel like I have been," and I'm paraphrasing here a little bit, feel like I've been disrespected by the waiter, and it makes me think I want to buy the restaurant just so I can fire him. He's a psycho.
He's a comic book villain, dude.
Yeah,
exactly.
Lex Luthor in real life.
He's the origin story of a villain. Like, he's the guy. He does buy the restaurant in the comic book. He does fire that guy in the comic book. And then that guy becomes Lex Luthor. That guy becomes the Joker. Like, that's how this shit starts. So watch what you're doing there, guy.
I'm taking the Bucks.
You're taking the Buccaneers. I'm following suit on that one as well. Todd, what do you and Bobby got?
Yeah, we both have the Bucks. I just want to also add that David Tepper is a golden spoon-fed boy. Like, he got daddy's money basically, and he just took over all of the hedge funds that his dad owned. And that's how he became and look, he's a billionaire no matter what. I'm not knocking a guy for being a billionaire, but there's something
that's fine.
There's something about a fucking golden spoon boy that has a temper tantrum that it just it really lights a fire under me.
Could you call it a Tepper tantrum?
Oh no, you didn't.
I just got fired. I was kidding.
Aaron, remember when you said this was your last podcast? That's actually a real thing.
Yeah, it's true. Well,
you get the fuck out of here.
Tepper sponsored it now just so he could kick me off. And you guys were like, I mean, it's $1 million, dude.
Ted's coming to the comment saying it would have been cool to punch a billionaire in the face because that's what I would have done. Dude, that would just be... I wouldn't, but man, it would feel
with this
good.
guy I know.
It would feel good. Yeah. It was always so funny to me, when players get into these contract things and fans, the common man always takes the side of the team over the player. We're siding with billionaires over millionaires here, and it's just most of these guys suck, man. Most of the owners in most sports of most teams, they suck. They're just not cool. I'm not saying all. but there's a lot of them.
Most.
So we're chalk on that one as well, huh? Looks like everybody in the chat's taking the Bucks as well. Am I correct on that assumption, Todd?
Yep.
All right. Beautiful. Guys, we're kind of cooking along here. Do we want to pump the brakes, talk about our feelings? Nope. Browns Bengals in Cincinnati at Paycor Stadium. Joe Flacco getting rest for the playoff clinching Browns. Aaron, you're back. You're back in the playoffs, buddy. How's it feel?
It feels fucking great, man. And what was even better about it was Thursday.
Yeah.
So it was just like you kick the shit out of the Jets.
And you're not working.
Right, exactly. So then you kind of just get to coast into the week and you're like, all right, cool. Sunday comes along, Saturday. All right, we'll just, keep an eye on what goes on. Now, of course, there was a chance that the Browns could have gotten the 1 seed walking into Sunday if the Dolphins had taken care of business against the Ravens. Then you would need the Steelers, of course, to win this week.
Yeah.
After like the first half of that game, I was just like, yeah, Ravens can just win. That's fine. If there's
an ass whooping.
Yeah, I know. And if there's any team, we had our bye week in week 5 and I've gone on and on about the injuries, that have been going on in Cleveland. I don't need to keep harping on that, but if there's any team that deserves or needs a week off, even not deserves, that's not the right word.
There we go.
But for a team that needs a week off, it's Cleveland. And there's a little bit of, fan base infighting over the difference between momentum and rest. And I side fully on the rest side here. I don't think you have anything. You literally have nothing to gain, whether it be, you're locked into the 5 seed. There's nothing you can do. You can win. You can
You're not
lose.
going up or down.
You're not going up or down. Now granted, there's roster ramifications here. Like you can't just sit everybody. It's impossible to do. You don't have enough roster spots to do it. But, when you're talking about Flacco, Garrett, Ward, Bitonio, your main guys that you want to make sure are healthy and active and ready to go.
Or Hunt,
Yeah, but I think the one thing for me is like, if we lose Miles, we're done. From a defensive standpoint, that's when you can't risk. And of course, Joe Flacco. So
Amari,
yeah. Well, he's already injured.
Yeah, he's
injured. At least you don't have to worry about him being against the enact. Like you're fine there.
Njoku,
yeah. The other thing though too is, some of these guys may have some roster bonuses coming to them where that's going to matter. But if you're going to rest Flacco, you have a good idea that you can rest the offensive line. You can't really do that if he's going to play. So I thought they might treat it like a pseudo last preseason game where it's like, let's get him out there for a quarter. Let's not, but I'm okay with this in general. I think that's the way to go, but yeah, man, we're excited for the playoffs. If we're going to get the, AFC South champion, which I hope is going to be the Jaguars of all the teams. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I mean, I think this team can make a pretty deep playoff run. We've seen Flacco. I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I'll go ahead and just say I'm taking the Bengals in this game because I think the Browns are going to be resting too many guys. And because it literally doesn't matter win, lose, or draw for their playoff implications, I'll take the Bengals here with Jeff Driscoll starting. So when I didn't know, we just signed with the practice squad this week and we got some other guys we just signed to the practice squad this week that are going to play. Outside looking in, what's the ceiling on this team? What do you guys think in terms of the Browns?
Yeah, I think I mean you kind of indicated it early on in the season, Aaron, talking about this defense, and that's where you guys live and die. I think at this point, obviously Joe Flacco is doing enough, but this defense is what you're built around, and as long as they can continue to do what they do and travel well and perform, and Miles is Miles, then you guys are going to have a shot to beat anybody in the AFC. I think the AFC is wide open, and I'll just go on the record that. The only team that I'm going to root against you guys on would be in Las Vegas, and that's the Detroit Lions. So,
sure,
I have no qualms with. I mean, it would suck if your team got one before mine. That would be the only thing, but I would enjoy you being happy.
Respect.
So long as you never ever held that over my head. Which I know is an impossibility for you as a person, but 7-point dogs. 7-point dogs. I'm going to take the Bengals at home on this one. Or 7-point favorites. Sorry, the Browns are 7-point dogs. Give me the Bengals at home on this one. Jeff Driscoll revenge game? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Todd.
Right.
Todd,
People are saying
former Florida Gator Jeff.
I doesn't even know where the bathrooms are.
Yeah.
Well, he knows where the bathrooms are at in Paycor. He's been there a time or two.
Great point. Great.
Yeah, we're all chalk foes. This is a Bengals win. And Aaron, just to kind of go back to your question, this is a team I could very easily see roll into an AFC Championship game, just all depending on where things fall for them after this first round. I think you're right. If you get Jacksonville in the first round, that's a banged up team, a real banged up team, especially when you're talking about the quarterback and his favorite target not being on the field together for the wild card round. We've watched. I think the thing is that everybody's always kind of harped on Flacco for turnover quantity, right? But the thing is that the Browns defense is so good that their turnovers usually don't really turn into more than 3 points most of the time.
I was going to say a lot of his turnovers end up being like pseudo punts as well.
Yeah.
You're like, all right,
but I think that is a part of him being in the league for so long is that his risk assessment lies there, right? If worst case scenario, I pin him back at the 10-yard line, right? That's most of his interceptions come from a bad deep ball, or they're just back of midfield, and he tries to air one out and it's a bad interception. They start at the 15-yard line, better than a fair catch. It's 3rd and 6 anyway. What does it matter? Yeah. Right. But I think a lot of that is his just veteran presence on the field. I think he understands where he can make money. Look at the turnaround David Njoku's had this year with having Joe Flacco on the field. It's a completely different tight end room, right? I mean, there was a lot of times where you're watching. I think everybody has a decently high ceiling for Njoku, and all year it feels like he wasn't getting involved. And all of a sudden, 6 weeks ago, he averages almost 100 yards a game right now. That's insane for a tight end. And it just doesn't feel like that they're going to slow down in the playoffs with all the momentum they've built up.
Another interesting point. Joe Flacco has more playoff wins than anybody else that will be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. And on the road too.
Yeah.
He's he always won on the road.
Comment coming here from Charlie, aka Pops, saying this game will determine if the Bengals have really bought into Zach Taylor team unity persona. I get the point. I get the statement that he's made. I get what he's saying. Like, this game means nothing other than a winning record at this point for the Bengals. Mm-hmm. I get that point. However, I would push back. Shocker. I would push back in that I think that's already kind of been proven at this point. I think the biggest gaps for the Bengals right now are pretty apparent. They're injury based. No Jamar Chase. That team was not the same. No DJ Reader. This team is not the same. No Joe Burrow. Obviously, this team is not the same. But the fact that it took a down to the finish defeat in Arrowhead for this team to be eliminated from the playoffs after having lost Joe Burrow midway through the season, I think shows that this team had kind of galvanized around each other. I think Joe Burrow's actions are indicative of that as well. And while the coach is a big part of that, I think there are other leaders on this team that aren't named Zach Taylor that have kind of stepped up in these moments. I don't know, Todd, as a fan of the team, what is your perspective?
So I think the main thing, you look at kind of the way the season has, the trajectory of the season for the Bengals, and obviously injuries are the biggest factor in losing close games, right? We're talking about that game Sunday's an entirely different outcome, right? If Joe Burrow's on the field, even the Christmas weekend game with the Steelers, probably a different outcome if Joe Burrow is on the field.
I think the Ravens game is different if Joe Burrow's there.
That's where I'm leaning back to. The games that they won, it was exciting because it was unexpected.
Yeah, agreed.
Right. That to me. So that game, the Indianapolis game where they took the keys to the car and they never gave them back to Indianapolis. That was a unification game for me.
Jaguars game was huge.
Right. So because you go on the road to Jacksonville, beat them in prime time. But I just saw you're seeing different players on the field get involved. Obviously, we've seen Tanner Hudson where we were talking about tight end troubles. I feel a lot less concerned about that after watching him this year.
Yep.
We've watched Chase Brown over the last 4 weeks get pushed into the offense and shown that if I'm interested, and I have a feeling, boys, he's going to take a lot of snaps on Sunday, and he should, because you got to see what you got in the backfield with him. You got to get him at least 15 to 18 touches in this game to see if he can handle being a first and second down back. Yeah. And a lot of the issues that the Bengals had that I saw even early on in the year is just lack of rotation, right? And include Chase Brown and the injuries too, right? He missed 6 weeks from injuries. So it was Joe Mixon and Trayvon Williams, and Trayvon Williams is just a blocking running back at this point in his career.
Yeah. He's Samaje Perine.
Right. On a lesser level. And I just think that Colts game, to me, watching that from start to finish, there was no – just the way that the team meshed with each other and watching the communication on the sideline, that was like, all right, well, these guys they're bought into the message. It's just that you just get out rostered sometimes, boys. That's football, right? And that Saturday game when they played the Steelers, it was just outplayed. Not I won't say outcoached, but it was just they got out rostered in that game.
Yeah, they got beat.
They had no response to anything.
Yeah,
right.
They couldn't stop the run at all.
Yeah,
I mean, DJ Reader goes out in that game, and it's just we're done.
Yeah. And then watching them against the Chiefs, there was not a point in time really until there was 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter where I wasn't standing on this fucking step stool behind me watching the game, going, I don't feel like we're out of this game yet. I don't feel like we're out of this, and that was after several 3-and-out drives consecutively.
Yeah.
So I think the iron's already sharpened the iron. It's just.
They've got some gaps obviously from injury, but let's not kid ourselves. The secondary needs work, and they're young, and the experience is going to benefit them in the long run, I think, but they're still unproven.
I realize the implications of not having Jesse Bates, but then I've seen it now, physically seen it in game, and I'm like, all right, I get why this guy, because I understood what his implications were on the field, but I was shocked by his contract, but I get it now.
But here's the thing. T. Higgins ? I would go on the side of betting that they're not going to re-sign T. Higgins.
I'd be shocked if he plays.
Could be a tag and trade type situation. Maybe Jake Browning's built into that, and maybe they head to Minnesota, and maybe Justin Jefferson comes back in return. You got Burrow, you got Chase, you got Jets all together. The Bengals are playing the bottom of every division next year with a healthy Joe Burrow. The Super Bowl is in Joe and Jamar's house in New Orleans. I've seen the script. It's there. We'll talk about it next year. It's not about the Bengals right now. It's not about us. It's not about
the one thing I'm surprised that you guys haven't brought up for this one, though, and why I'm certainly taking the Bengals is I think as a team, and to go to Charlie's point here, they have too much pride, and in terms of like the coach part of it, is this team going to go 0-6 in the division? I don't think so, especially when you have a Browns team that doesn't really have anything to play for. The Bengals have played amazing outside of the division, and of course we know it's a great division. Everyone's banged up. I hear you guys on the injury side. Yeah. I think this is the last game of the season with nothing to lose, of course nothing to win as well, but I honestly think that locker room is going to go, I don't ever want to look back at 0-6 in the division.
And another thing, if the Bengals win, the entire AFC North is over 500.
Which should be just dope.
That's insane.
The Steelers are already locked up.
Yeah. So they can only, the worst case scenario, they're 9-8.
Mm-hmm. The entire division could be over 500, which is absolutely insane, but also kind of what we expected out of this.
Again, going back to the over-unders, it was the only division where that's what we said. If every team hit the over, everyone's winning. And of course, it's not shaking out that way, but Vegas knows, man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are headed to my neck of the woods, where the head coach is using, quote, controlled rage to fuel his team. I'm, of course, talking about the kneecap biter, the helmet wearer, the drag you out. I don't care if you've got one ass cheek and three toes. MCDC Dan Campbell. Absolutely furious with the results of that Cowboys game. They, of course, are going against the Minnesota Vikings at home. Nick Mullins getting the start for Skull Nation. The Lions can still get the second seed. Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dallas would need to lose.
Yeah, Dallas needs to lose. Eagles win.
So the Commanders would need to beat Dallas, and the Lions would need to win, obviously. So they have something to put.
Just straight up, right? Because if Dallas loses,
yeah, they don't need anything from the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So if they win, they're the number 2 seed if Dallas loses as well. So lots to play for Detroit. I'm gonna go ahead and lead this one off. I think they fucking shit pump them. I think Detroit comes out again and beats Minnesota again, controlled rage. And I don't think Dan Campbell gets to any place. So the only thing that I would watch for is him doing stupid shit like going for it on 4th and 7 and stuff like that. But I think that this is a statement game for Detroit, and the Lions get the win at home. Aaron, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you here. I'm still waiting for the discrepancy game that we're gonna, get to root for because we're in gridlock right now.
We are actually, as a whole panel, we are entirely flush.
I don't know if this is us being conservative or if it's honestly part of it is just I don't know. It's this week of, we're already on quarterbacks like 84 for the year in the league, and bring Nick Mullins back, fine, whatever. They could win this game, sure.
Yeah.
The thing is like when you have teams like you're saying, like depending on what Campbell does, is he going to do something stupid or these teams that are destined for the playoffs, like the Lions are? I'd want to be as vanilla as possible. I want to work on stuff this practice that we're going to unveil in the playoffs, and I want to, that's rocky road. All right, that needs some time. We're just going vanilla ice cream this week.
So why keep the cards close to the chest?
Right.
Todd,
so that's the way the Vikings win. But
so you have the Lions, though, to be clear.
I do have the Lions, but I'm saying, like, if a lot of these playoff teams that are ready to go, like, why do anything other than the vanilla?
Sure. Todd, what do we got from Bobby on this one?
Bobby says that Dan Campbell is possessed, full of rage, and this team of savages will take the W.
Interesting. Team of savages would actually be referring to the Vikings by nature. Todd, who do you have on this one?
Nordic culture did. I mean, is that a Nordic history joke that you just made there?
Bro,
great television series, by the way.
Yeah. That's a good one. Vikings is a good series. Big fan.
You guys are early dads.
Yeah. Big fan of Vikings.
It's on early onset Republican.
You ever fall asleep to the History Channel?
Yeah.
You just wake up to like 3:00 in the morning. It's like, get your commemorative coin.
Oh, do you wake up? World War II's on.
Shit. I thought I was the only one that fell asleep to the voice of Ken Burns every night. It turns out that I'm not alone. Yeah, I'm taking the Lions too here, fellas. There's no reason for them not to go in here and shit kick around on the Vikings at Ford Field. Right? I'll stand by my statement I made 3 weeks ago. If they were going to lose one to Minnesota, it was going to be in Minneapolis. They're at home. It's week 18. They want that 2 seed. And they're going to make sure that they don't put themselves in a position where anything's up to chance.
Yeah, absolutely. How are we feeling about Jared Goff moving into the playoffs overall?
Probably similar to down. Similar to how I felt to him at the beginning of the year. Like, he's good. He's not great.
He's like salvaged whatever, like the rockiness that we had seen kind of mid-late in this season. He's kind of revitalized that.
Yeah, the NFC hasn't had the same quarterback injury that the AFC has. So like Prescott's still there, Purdy's still there, Hurts is still there. Like it's still very top heavy in terms and that's been the story of the whole year. The quarterbacks that have stayed healthy really outside of the Browns are the teams that are like right there, right doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. I don't know. I like he can the Lions win the whole thing? Absolutely. But he's going to have to play perfect football.
Yeah.
And I don't trust him to hold on to the ball. So to me, their ceiling is the NFC Championship game.
Interesting. And I think that would be a hell of an accomplishment for this team from where they were just 2 short years ago.
Yeah, I think Lions fans are looking for a playoff win, right? I think this is
I think they're looking at Super Bowl, man.
Really?
Yeah, but wait till they get that. Yeah, but if they get that first win and lose, that entire city will go, all right, we got a little weight off of our
shoulders. Yeah, Corey, do you remember the feeling when the Bengals beat the Raiders? I like that relief, that sense of relief. I do. I agree. I think Lions fans will me too. I cried 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
But I think that I work with a big Lions fan, big time Lions fan, and I was asking him about, where is he sitting at in the game? What are his expectations going through the whole gamut? And he said, if I can be in Ford Field and watch them win a playoff game, he said, it's the best thing that's happened in my Detroit sports fandom. He's 2 years older than us. And I said, yeah, I get that. I get that sentiment because you're right. I think people push for the Super Bowl thing because they've already gotten the NFC Championship too, right? It's been 30 years.
Yeah.
So then you have the louder crowd is the one shouting Super Bowl, but I think that general fan base is just like, just give me one. Just give me one.
No, I get that sentiment, but I
think point with the home game.
Yeah, I think I 100% get that, and I think that is the case in hindsight. But I think when you're in the moment, you're more. You've got that Kylo Ren going on there. So we are completely flush here, boys, through these first 5 games. Moving on now. Off to Foxborough, where the Patriots will be hosting the New York Jets in what may be Bill Belichick's last game as head coach of the New England Patriots. That is all I need to say. I'm taking the Patriots. Todd.
Yeah, Bobby agrees with you. I'll verbatim. That's exactly what his notes are. What you just said, except he just said, cash it. That's it. That's the only difference in sentence there. Look, and Trevor Simeon's not a guy that's he's not gonna beat Bill Belichick's defense, even with what it is right now. And it's true. Belichick's not gonna go out with an L and Foxborough. There's no way. There's no way that he does that. No way. No fucking way. He'll have flashbacks.
Any other team, I'd be like, yeah, it could happen.
Yeah. No way. There's good. It's in Fox. And I also read that game sold out like immediately.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
yeah. There are a lot of people. There will be a lot of emotional people in Foxborough on Saturday afternoon as well. The writing's on the wall.
All right. We've got Aaron.
No, I don't know for sure that this will be Bill Belichick's last game. That's all I'm going to say.
As a Patriots head coach.
As the general manager of the Patriots, maybe, yeah.
Okay. That'd be an interesting move, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean,
I'm taking the Patriots, of course. I think there's a lot of respect for him, even still in the locker room. If this game wasn't in Foxborough, though, I would be tempted to take the Jets.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too. And Vegas isn't that far off. It's only a home point spread at 2.5 right now for the Patriots,
which is the new normal for.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. So Vegas is in line with you on that one. All right. We've got an interesting one for next year's home of the Super Bowl as the Falcons head down to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Saints sitting at 8-8. Falcons sitting at 7-9. So Falcons have the opportunity to edge one out. So Saints win, Bucks lose. Saints win the division. Am I correct in that assumption?
That's
correct.
That's correct.
This is a lot. So Saints win, Bucks win. Who wins the division?
Bucks.
Buccaneers do. Okay. So the Saints need help to get in. Buccaneers control their own destiny to get to the playoffs with a winning record, mind you. We had talked a lot about the NFC South being a team that would host a playoff game with a losing record. Looks like we're going to avoid that. Thank Christ for the sanctity of the game.
We're pretty adamant there's only going to be one team, though.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
which is still, technically there could be 2, but it's not looking likely.
Yeah. All right, Aaron, Falcons, Saints, who you got?
Of course, you're going to go to me first, as I get it.
I just took like the last 4.
Well, yeah, and the ones that were pretty obvious.
All right, fine. I'll go out.
Go ahead. Wow, it's fine.
You want to do it at the same time?
Yeah. 3,
right. 1,
2, 3. Saints.
God damn it, dude. I thought for sure you were gonna fade it. God damn it. All right.
Tyler. Heineke looks bad.
He's not playing. It's gonna be Desmond Ridder again because Heineke's hurt.
Desmond Ritter's bad. Listen, until that team, we were talking earlier, like, what do the Bears do? My dream scenario is Justin Fields is in Atlanta with those skill players. Like, that would just be the most fun.
That'd be nuts.
That would be awesome. There's the Georgia tie to it even too.
Yeah, but then like Arthur Smith can't be the head coach.
No.
Yeah, they'd fire him.
give me honestly, put a bunch of coaches in the Shanahan tree in a hat and just pull one, and I'd rather have that.
Here's a question: Falcons win, Bucks lose. We've got 8 and 9. We got 3, 8, and 9 teams.
Well, yeah, but somebody has to win the South.
Yeah, who would is my question.
The Bucks would.
Would still
yeah, because if the Saints lose and the Bucks lose, it's just chalk to what it is now.
Yeah, but then they would still be. We would have 3 teams at 8 and 9, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what are the 3?
They would be the Bucks would be 8 and 9, the Saints would be 8 and 9, and the Falcons would be 8 and 9. They're 7 and 9 right now.
Yeah, but if you look at the playoffs right now, it's actually I don't know. What's the division? They'd all be 3 and 3.
Dude, chaos.
Okay, so
give it to me.
The Falcons actually do have something to play for.
Yeah.
So Tampa Bay would technically.
Tampa's also playing Carolina, so
they would still win because they'd have a 6-6 conference record, and the Falcons and the Saints would both have a 5-7 conference record.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Doesn't it go division then head?
I don't know if it goes head up for division. I know it goes for wild card.
I thought it did go head up. No, Corey, because Atlanta play the Saints. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Atlanta beats the Saints would be 8 and 9.
Yeah, so
Atlanta
Tampa Bay wins
9.
Right. So
Tampa Bay would be 8 and 9.
Tampa wins the tiebreaker over New Orleans based on win percentage in common games.
They both can lose the game. Ariel coming with a comment saying no, Corey, because Atlanta plays the Saints, and they both can't lose the game. Yes, no, Atlanta needs to win. Yeah, that would put Atlanta, the Saints, and then if the Buccaneers also lose, they would be at 8 and 9.
All 3 be 8 and 9.
3, 8, and 9 teams.
The rules should just be the Seahawks get in.
Yeah, for sure.
Not again, Tampa Bay.
I can't wait for one of those to end in a tie or something, and just.
Oh God, yes, please, Lord, yes.
And then you see Steve Cornell on the board, just like, all right, well, here's what happened.
With his fucking Dockers shirt rolled up. Yeah, I love that guy. All right, Todd, what are you and Bobby rolling with here in this Falcons Saints matchup?
Yeah, both of us have the Saints here. I'm trying to. Okay.
What the fuck, dude?
Okay, so if the Falcons beat the Saints,
and
the Bucks lose, Atlanta wins the NFC South.
Oh shit!
Let's go Panthers! Keep pounding, baby. Here's the thing.
How do you fire Arthur Smith winning the division though?
I don't know. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same reason why Todd Bowles got to keep his job for this year, right?
Here's how you do it, Corey.
He won the division. That's the only reason he came back.
You bring him into Art Blank's office, you sit him down, and you go, "You're fired."
Yeah, but
division winners.
They've already said he's after the season. I think too.
They did,
and it's not. Here's the thing: it's not like there isn't precedent for a coach making the playoffs and getting fired.
Sure, it happens.
All right, well, I know what I'm going to be watching at 1:00 on Saturday. I'm watching how the NFC South shakes out.
Yeah, dude.
I can't wait to watch
NFC South.
3-10. Something like that.
I fucking hope that happens.
That'd be hilarious.
It'd be a lot of fun. Well, we are continuously chalk through every fucking game from Saturday through the 1 o'clock.
Here's the thing. I'd say these are defensive picks, but they're not. Like it's.
Here's the thing. We have 8 picks left.
All right. Let's see how it goes.
8 picks left. This next one, opportunity for splitting here. We've got Seattle going on the road. Seattle with a lot to play for. Cardinals with nothing but pride and draft picks to play for here. Seattle taking on Arizona. Seattle a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Todd, who's Bobby got in this one?
Mr. Robert Lehman has the Cards over the Seahawks. Wow. And you know what? I'm going to fucking agree with him, boys.
Oh, shit. All right.
I'm taking the Cardinals. It's week 18. I'm going against my word for one time. Just for one time. I'm gonna break my rule. I'm gonna bet on Kyler Murray here, fellas. I'm gonna bet on Kyler Murray. I watched the Seahawks-Steelers game, and if James Conner can put together a similar game that he put together against Philadelphia, I don't see a world where the Cardinals don't beat the Seahawks. I really don't. James Conner ran all over the Eagles, all over them. They had no business being in that game, and it was all the fluidity of play action to throwing to Greg Dortch and Trey McBride off of James Conner was the most ridiculous thing on Sunday for me. That's where I'll stand on it. They looked good. They looked good against a team that played in the Super Bowl last year. It doesn't feel right, but I'm doing it. Give me the Birds. Give me the Birds after the Bird, boys.
I got you down, Aaron. I'll be a man here, and I'll go first.
All right.
You're going first on the next one, though. The next toss-up.
Ariel agrees with me. Let's go. You got 3 people right now talking about these Birds,
and I'm gonna fade all of you. I'm taking Seattle. Call it a bust your nut game against the Eagles here. I'm going to follow my morals and my principles. I'm not going to bet on the Bird after I cut the Bird.
That's fair.
Give me the Seahawks, which is not a real bird, so I can bet on them.
That's true. That is true.
Cardinals are, in fact, true birds. If birds
Seahawks
are real,
not a real bird?
No, a Seahawk is not
thing.
It's a made-up fairy tale thing.
Just fucking, they got to change their name.
It's not called the Seagulls.
Yeah.
Change their name. I don't like it.
Yeah. But I'm taking the Seahawks here. Better coach, better team, better roster. I think they get it done. The Eagles aren't the Eagles right now, but I do think that this was kind of a bust your nut game for the Cardinals. I think they kind of fall back to life here a little bit. And the Seahawks have a hell of a lot to play for on Sunday. So
they sure do.
Aaron, who you got, buddy?
Yeah, I could do the long view and say, all right, take the Cardinals, beat Corey, and then I lose my or the under on the Cardinals and my over on the Seahawks. I'm not going to do it. Part of the reason is Vegas has already given us the 3 points. That's the first part I look at. The other part I look at is the Seahawks have something to play for, and the Cardinals, with a win, can move to like 6 or 7 in the draft standings.
Yeah, but did you look intrinsically at all as you were making your pick, or are you just using facts? Because that's where mistakes are.
Honestly, I've probably lost half of my picks by actually being like, well, here's why I think this is.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going gut. I've gone gut the last few weeks.
Todd is going pure nuts, and I have nothing but respect for that.
Thank you.
And if you're going to get it back on this one, God fucking bless you, Todd, and I love you for it.
Dude, I'll be rock hard.
All right. Well, then I'm going No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, I'm coming out with a comment saying Seahawk is just another name for Osprey. Okay, nerd.
All right. Well, Osprey.
I like it. That's a good. You can't. Well, yeah, they can't be the Ospreys. That's a fucking nightmare of a uniform.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a backpack brand. We have a couple. They're good. They're real solid.
Backpack.
But yeah, no. Listen, guys. You got a team that has something to play for to be in the playoffs. Cardinals, like we were talking at the top of this, like when we were talking about draft slotting, they're going to stick with Kyler. That's the perfect destination for Marvin Harrison. Now they're going to stick with the coach by all all reporting. So that I don't think this is a Lovie Smith game.
Right.
I think the coach actually has the long view in it. Can the Cardinals come in, punch him in the mouth a little bit, maybe make it a game? I think they throttle back towards the end if it needs to.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I don't hate that the way that shakes out. All right, we finally have our first discrepancy here on the panel. And it goes with Bobby betting against Pete Carroll. Shocker. All right.
We love you, Tez.
Tez coming. LOL, call me a nerd, says Tez. Tez, we love you, buddy.
Dude, that's a good little factoid there.
Yeah,
you
for nerds.
I also don't know that it's true. Like I didn't look it up.
I'll take Tez.
I'll take him on his word. Yeah,
I'm not looking that up. He knows.
Yeah, he's never lied to me before, not that I know of. So why would I think he's lying to me now?
Yeah, never fact checked him before. I'm not going to because I don't want to be disappointed. Okay. All right. Another divisional matchup as we have obviously throughout the entire week. Week 18 is awesome for that. We've got the Chicago Bears going in to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Packers 3-point home favorites.
You want me to go?
Go ahead,
this
buddy.
Is the toss if you wanted?
Not really, but go ahead.
I'll take it. I'm going to take the Packers here. They play well for against teams that aren't very good. Don't get me wrong, the Bears have been playing very, very well. But there's just something about Packers versus Bears that it's hard for me to bet against the Packers. And again, going back to re-listening to some of the over-under pods, one of the funniest things, Corey, that I got to listen to was Bobby was like, I'm going to take the under here because I don't think Jordan Love's any good. And you just immediately jump in and go, oh, what evidence do you have of that? Which was just hilarious for me to hear.
I have evidence now.
But your own point was give me a 2-to-1 interception ratio.
No. That was a minuscule aspect. That was the parsley on top of the dish. And you're only eating that and saying, this tastes like shit. I send it back. I need a new one. Like you're not
more parsley.
You're not consuming the meal in the appropriate manner.
Okay.
In which it was attended.
But Jordan Love is knocking on the doorstep of 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. All right, go ahead. I got the Packers.
No, I'm with you on this one, though. I'm not good. He beats bad teams. He's really good at beating bad teams. He really is.
See? Tez knows. Big parsley guy.
Yeah, you know why Tez is making this comment? Because that's all you have. It's the only argument you have. You cannot point to me in one aspect of Jordan Love's game and say, man, this was an excellent game by Jordan Love in that he diced up the defense. You can see him looking people off. In fact, it's inconsistency is the biggest aspect of Jordan Love's game.
That Chiefs game was pretty good.
Chiefs game was pretty good. Yeah, he can have good games and I can still be right. Like this is these both can be true. They're not mutually exclusive. My point about Jordan Love is not that he is a bad quarterback. My point about Jordan Love is he is Andy Dalton. He is Derek Carr. He is Ryan Tannehill. He is Kirk Cousins. Take your pick.
You know what's so funny is we're basically those two dogs barking, and then they open the fence, and then they run away because it's just the fence that makes them bark. Because I agree, like I don't disagree with that. My point was,
then why are you fighting me on it?
Because now it's just become a meme for us, I think, and.
Yeah. It's reached that territory.
It's reached that territory, and
well, then crawl back under your fucking bridge.
You crawl under your fucking bridge. No, the argument really came from you're like, I don't think he can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I've seen worse quarterbacks win a Super Bowl. I just there's still leaps left in this career I'm unsure about. He could be this the entire way.
I'm putting my nuts on the table and saying no, thank you.
Great. You're basically taking the field.
No, I'm just saying like I would opt in a different. I would go in a different direction. I don't like 3 years from now. I think we're going to be seeing him passed on to another team.
Yeah, maybe
like a Baker Mayfield-esque. Todd, who do you and Bobby have on this one?
I got the Packers. I'm not gonna. We've spent enough time on this game. Bobby actually has the Bears and says Justin Fields is the second best quarterback from Ohio State in the NFL.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, he's the only other one.
Yeah,
I think he means ever.
Oh, Troy Smith would have been good if it wasn't for staph infection.
I mean,
but then you know what? It gave rise to Joe Flacco.
It did. That's right. Heisman, he got drafted by the Ravens. That's right.
Yeah.
It was the 49ers, wasn't it? And then he went to the Ravens. And
yeah.
He actually was okay.
Troy Smith?
He had some, like...
I thought he was drafted by the Ravens, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was the 49ers, and then he ended up on the
or something. They got cut
he probably just got,
or something.
Right. But he had some decent NFL moments. But he got staph infection.
Drafted by the Ravens, then went to the Niners.
And then went back to the Ravens?
No, drafted by the Ravens. Drafted by the Ravens, then the Niners, yeah.
And then that's how Flacco. Okay. I assume that's how his career ended for some reason.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It ended with the Montreal Alouettes, in case you were wondering.
Oh, also where Jimmy Burrow played football.
Hey, Tez, what's an Alouette?
Yeah. There's a
he's an American. He's not a Canadian. He doesn't know what a fucking Alouette
he knows what a Seahawk
is. He knows an awful lot about birds. Okay? Knows a lot about birds.
Troy Smith most recently got a DUI in 2017 in Columbus.
Tight. Welcome to the club.
All cool kids are
Troy. It. Yeah, dude. Or have done it. All right. This game is going to be fun. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs headed into SoFi, taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Do the Chiefs have anything? Are they playing Mahomes on Sunday?
No,
Blaine Gabbert. Anything to play for?
Yeah, they've got the third spot. It's a lock. They don't have anything more to try to sacrifice. They've already said they're playing Blaine Gabbert. Not a lot of Travis Kelce. They have to play Pacheco because they don't have any other running back right now. And then it's going to be just a slew of drop balls all over the place.
All right.
No Chris Jones either. That was somebody else they called out today.
All right. I'll go ahead and take this one then. Fuck.
Yeah, great.
I'll go with Vegas and the home team. Give me the Chargers. I can't believe I just said that. Yeah, give me the Chargers.
Do you think Blaine Gabbert or Easton Stick is a better quarterback than Blaine Gabbert?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I have zero information.
Okay. Yeah, me either. I was hoping somebody could tell me so that I could sway my decision in one direction.
I would say that the fact that everybody else isn't playing also like goes into this as well.
Corey, I'm not changing my pick.
You're taking the Chiefs.
I'm taking the Chiefs, and it would be the most ironic thing in the world if this comes down to Chiefs Chargers and you win because you're like, gotta go with the Chiefs here. But this is one of those games where this is the exact reason why if you're playing in a fantasy league that gives a shit about week 18, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Because this is the week where it's like, I don't fucking know. And this is a perfect example of a game. And even the Browns-Bengals game we were talking about before, which we all had a lot more to say about because I can talk to you about the third string guy or like a Chase Brown or something like that, where I'm like, he can get some juice in there.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I just pre-selected the Chiefs in this one, and I'll stick with it. Go Chiefs.
Ugh. Todd, who you guys got over there?
Bobby's got the Chargers, and he said this game sucks. I'm not watching it. I share that sentiment.
Can you imagine being the NFL schedule maker and you're like, all right, we got Chiefs Chargers week 18, and everyone's going to tell you to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the home team too. I'm gonna take the Chargers. I looked at this game 2 hours ago and I was like, I don't know who I'm gonna pick, and then I forgot about it, and then now it's here, and I'm like, I'll take the Chargers. Panic. It's a panic pick.
Our first discrepancy between Aaron and I.
And we already had one with Todd. So if I'm wrong twice, Todd has now leapfrogged me.
Oh boy!
All right. You know what? I'm rooting for that. Let's go, Todd. Shit talking all year. I'm so happy with the come. Like, I'm seriously so proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Don't forget, like 7 weeks ago, I let Mary pick all my games, and I've flipped that script back around, boys.
Dude,
Marys.
Week 17, the week that matters the most. You came in clutch.
Dude, I came a lot in week 17. It was pretty sweet.
Nice job.
All right, let's go into that.
Yeah. All right. We've got Denver benching Russell Wilson for the rest of the season, headed into Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Vegas a 3-point favorite at home. The handling of Russell Wilson kind of fucked up. I don't know. What are your guys' opinions on the way that this all shook out for Russ?
I'm fine with it. I mean, he's weird.
Business.
It's business. It's, you can either cut your losses and eat the contract for a season, which is what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Because, and obviously the Broncos had to agree to it for it to happen, so it's not like they're completely blameless in this, but part of the reason this all came about was he had like some weird injury clause.
Yep.
So you're talking about 30, he'll be 35 next year or something like that. I'm not willing. Yeah. So if he gets injured next year, I'm not willing to guarantee him his money for the year prior. It's like you just said, Corey, it's business, and I'm completely fine with business in the NFL. Also, I said Justin Fields earlier, like Falcons, Russell Wilson makes a lot of sense. You know what actually makes a lot of sense too is Russell Wilson to the Steelers.
Yeah. I don't hate that either.
Like, I still think he's going to play next year. Also, or he could be the most valuable backup ever. You're going to see the backup quarterback market next year reach new highs. And I was actually going to mention this earlier when we were talking about the Bengals. Like, Browning, earned a good amount of money, whether it's with Cincinnati or somewhere else. You've had a lot of guys that have come in and played pretty well. And because of the health of the quarterbacks this year, like Russell Wilson is going to get some run.
Oh, yeah. What about back in Seattle?
No.
Just saying. Crazier things have happened. Who you got in this one, Aaron?
Oh, I didn't make that pick, did I? I'm going to take the Raiders. I think the Raiders win this game, and I think Pierce gets the job.
I'd love to see it. I've advocated for it. That'd be my pick, but Mark Davis is too fucking stupid. He'll go out into the market and try and hire the hot thing. Oh, that's what
I think you're going to see the players play hard for it.
I agree, and I'm taking the Raiders as well. I picked them last week, but I like the way that they're playing. Talk about galvanizing around team unity and stuff like that, like Charlie had talked about with the Bengals earlier. I think we've absolutely seen that in the Raiders here. It wasn't until the Chiefs beat the Bengals that the Raiders had an opportunity to win the division. Still up until last week when the Chiefs won and clinched it. So hats off to them and what they've been able to accomplish. Give me the Raiders at home. Todd, who do you and Bobby have?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just saying, I think Tez just made a great point in the comments about that's why fans and people shouldn't get mad when players set out their contract reasons. That's why earlier when we were talking about the Bengals, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think T. Higgins is going to play in that game, and I wouldn't fault him for it. He's due a big payday, from any team, whether it be like the Chiefs or the
Jamar also.
Yeah, well, sure, but he's in the long-term plans of the Bengals for sure. If he gets injured, I don't think that's going to change. It might change a couple numbers,
He's also going for single season catches record.
Yeah, and I don't fault players for that at all, Tez. I think it's a great point. But it's a business and it's a two-way street.
Yep, 100%. All right, Todd, who you guys got there?
Yeah, I got the Raiders, and I just want to. Devonta Adams came in a presser today, boys, and said that this is who the players want, right? And I think if we've learned anything from the Raiders in the last several years, is they do not give a shit about the players that are on the roster. They'll just bring in whoever they want and give them crazy contracts and eat all that money. So I think things will unfortunately lean the opposite direction of Mike Davis making a horrendous decision. I could see this as a landing spot for Harbaugh coming out of college and into the NFL, which would be a nightmare for this organization.
It'd be a nightmare for Harbaugh.
It would be, but I could see it happening because I could see them basically giving him the keys to the ship and saying, "Hey, do whatever you want to do. It's your world. We're just in it, buddy." Because
I got another landing spot. It's not Los Angeles. It's not Las Vegas.
For Harbaugh?
Yeah.
New Orleans?
Chicago.
Oh, I think that's the odds-on favorite.
I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, well, the Bears have already said that they're going to bring Eberflus back, though. That's already kind of been.
I mean,
there's precedent for that too.
Yeah,
He's 100% secure.
Yeah, they did say it prior to Sunday's game that Eberflus would be back for the 2024 season. But
I'm just thinking out. Sorry.
I'm just saying they said that about Arthur Smith, and I wouldn't be surprised if on Tuesday afternoon, if they lose, that we see him as the first, or Tuesday morning, he's the first person fired because they're on the Eastern time zone.
I'm sure the list isn't very long, but just thinking out loud, who was the last interim coach to get the job and do a good job? Because I get it, like the players like the guy.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to think of the track record and success.
I don't know that interim coaches have gotten the job very often.
They have, for sure.
Who's the last one that you can think of, though? That's my problem, is I'm having a hard time.
Todd Bowles.
Was he interim coach, though?
Well, because what's his name?
It was Byron Leftwich.
Arians retired mid-season, did he not?
I can't remember.
Either way.
Todd Bowles.
But again, there's not like one that comes to mind where I'm like, yep, that works. And this isn't the same thing either, because it was Greg Williams. But like for the Browns, they turned around and hired Freddie Kitchens after the offense looked good for 5 weeks.
Wow.
Like that's a dumpster fire. It's after the season stops and resets and you know, I don't know. I'm not saying it won't work, but I certainly can't think of an example where it has worked.
Leslie Frazier is the most successful interim coach to head coach with the Vikings.
Okay.
And how successful was that? Or like what, you have that in front of you? Or not that it matters, but
2 games over 500.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Todd, who does Bobby have in this Raiders-Broncos matchup?
He has the Raiders, and he just said, fuck Sean Payton.
All right. Yeah, I got it.
Short and sweet and to the point.
Yeah.
Bobby's getting a little more aggressive as the picks go on and on.
Yeah. I don't think we can there's going to be a whole lot of discrepancy in this one. We've got the Eagles reeling, headed to the Meadowlands to take on the G-Men in the New York Giants. Eagles 11-5, Giants 5-11.
Ty God throwing the ball over the field.
Give me the birds. I'm taking the Eagles in this one. Todd, who do you and Bobby have?
Yeah, Eagles. Eagles for both parties.
Okay. Aaron?
I also have the Eagles, but I just want to point out that this is a 5.5 point spread for a team that's terrible against a team that like really needs to win this game. Vegas is out on the Eagles.
Yeah. It's interesting in all of the praise that was being sung about Sirianni. Where is it?
Yeah, people are starting to question him now.
Yeah, that's my whole point with the McDaniels thing is like just hold on a minute, guys. Like Sirianni, he had a great first season. Obviously, they went to the fucking Super Bowl, but let's just hold our horses a little bit before we start laying flowers out for these guys, because a lot more is said about a coach when shit goes wrong. in my opinion. I think that says a lot more about a coach and their abilities than when things are going great. All right, so we're all chalk on that one. So far, Aaron and I with only one discrepancy, and I think there might only be one more left in this thing as we get down to it. Yeah, there might be. Who knows? We've got the Los Angeles Rams headed to Levi Stadium to take on the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers looking at a 4-point favorite. They have locked up the 1 seed. It looks like Brock Purdy's going to be taking a seat on this one as well, if I'm not mistaken. Sam Darnold, is he getting the start against the Rams?
Sam Darnold.
All right. So
and the Niners are favored.
Niners are favored. 4-point favorite. Rams already clinched a playoff spot as well. Congratulations to Tez.
Yeah, and starting Carson Wentz in this game, fellas. First start in a year for Carson Wentz. Over a year, really. Yeah.
All right. Todd, Bobby, who you guys got?
Bobby's got the Rams. I'm not sure if he knew that Carson Wentz was going to start this game when he made that pick, but I'm going to take the 49ers because I do believe that Sam Darnold is the better quarterback between those two. And even if you're
coming out of your mouth,
it unintelligible, disappointing, sad, alone. Just sharing how I feel in general. No, I think that this is a fucking snoozer, whatever. But I do think that Sam Darnold, when he did come in late in that game against the Ravens, he at least showed that he could still move the ball. I think he's somebody that's just always been shit on with bad opportunity where he's been in the NFL. Think about him getting drafted to the Jets, getting into New York City, messing around with some hookers, getting mono. Then he goes to Carolina, who was losing on purpose, right? Essentially, when you look at how bad they were last year, and he gets an opportunity to back up a team when they trade. I mean, they traded Trey Lance to make some room, but they obviously saw enough in Sam Darnold that they could get rid of Trey Lance, right? So I think he'll benefit from. I think he's a guy that'll get a 1-game benefit. Is kind of what I'm getting at. He'll be able to move the ball around the field pretty easy, I think.
Also, shout out to me in my dynasty league trading Trey Lance for a 2nd-round pick that landed me CJ Stroud. Shout out to me.
Solid.
Nice job. Todd, just a call back to your comment there. It's my favorite graphic of all time when he's on the Jets, and it's like out indefinitely mononucleosis, and he's just.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite Barstool pizza reviews. Is when
I use that screenshot all the time.
Yeah. Went to New York and a
couple too many salutes.
Yeah. Got on the wrong side of Queens.
So talk me through this again here. So quarterbacks are both out, right?
Yep.
So who's the back? Who you guys just said it? Who's the backup in for Los Angeles?
Carson
Wentz is going to start this game, and we might even see Dresser win in this game. Look him up. Didn't know he existed.
We parlaying that pick with Desmond Ridder.
I like it. Yeah, Desmond Ridder pick. I like a Justin Fields. A Driscoll pick. That's good.
He is
good. Even a Jake Browning pick.
Yeah, he's good.
We'll talk about it. I actually was coming into this one ready to take the Rams. I also thought, and I'm looking at it now, like they're in, but I thought they still had something to play for.
You should start. You should pick the Rams still.
They do not. I'm going to take the Niners.
God damn it.
It's what we've said from the beginning of the year, like depth wise, they're just, I'll take their backups against the Rams backups who are all 22-year-olds.
Fair enough. So looking at some like discrepancies, where can Bobby make it up? This is one. He's a lone wolf on this one with the Rams. Looking at some of the other picks, he can make up ground on me and Aaron with the Cardinals, which is what he's ultimately doing. So that's 2 games. And he can also he's got 3. He's got the Bears over the Packers. Could absolutely happen. The Seahawks or the Cardinals over the Seahawks. I mean, it's not a huge spread. It's not a crazy pick. And then he's got the Rams over the 49ers, which if they came out and played uninspired football, the 49ers did. Carson Wentz just pops off. We've seen these backup quarterbacks in their first starts. Bobby's got a chance here as we're coming down to the last few games.
Has Sam Darnold started a game?
He has.
He started one. He's come in.
Oh,
he didn't start because
who has
remember
more to
when Purdy when Purdy got his concussion, he played the next week against Cincinnati. Remember, that was the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
If he got that concussion, he played the following week.
Yeah,
because the whole remember the whole week you and I were talking about it's gonna be fucking Sam Darnold, or we were worried about Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
I like Sam Darnold in his offense.
I do too. I said I think when. I mean,
all I'm saying is Bobby's got a shot. That's all I'm saying. Bobby's got a shot, statistically speaking. Like it exists. The pathway exists so far, as long as he is different from both Aaron and I or at least one of us, I guess.
He won't be.
Well, no, he would need to be different from both Aaron and I on at least one of these next two picks. So just one of the next two. Okay. One of the next two. And there's one where you could be different. But we'll get to the first one. This one, of course, the last of the 4 o'clock slate. The Dallas Cowgirls headed to the nation's capital. What is statistically the unsafest field in football, FedEx Field, where the Washington Commanders play. Injuries such as Joe Theismann, Joe Burrow, Alex Smith. The list goes on and on. Lord, hopefully we do not get another one. Cowboys, 13-point favorites headed into Washington. There is zero chance I'm fading that. Give me the Cowboys. Aaron, are you following suit there, bud?
Fuck yeah, I am, dude. The Cowboys have so much to play for in this game, and they're peaking at the right time. We've seen the musical chairs of MVP all year. I'm going to give myself a little quick pat on the back when I said Lamar Jackson, dark horse MVP this year, and everyone laughed at me. Looking pretty good. But it's funny because Dak Prescott basically had one bad game, and then it's like, all right, well, he's not the MVP. Brock Purdy was the MVP, had one bad game. And it's just, I actually think Dak Prescott might deserve it over Lamar.
Sure.
Because Dak Prescott has had to play against better quarterbacks than Lamar has. Like the AFC has been pretty...
Not only that, look at the amount of touchdowns each is responsible for their team.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott responsible for something around 65% of the touchdowns on the team. Lamar is somewhere around 50%.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No MVP, no quarterback has one MVP being responsible for less than 60%. But Lamar's the odds-on favorite right now. But I'm with you. I think Dak is where I would put my money. Like that's where my vote would go.
And I know I'm just going to stall here a little bit as we wait on Todd to take his little pee break. I think we talked about at the beginning of the year, where does CeeDee Lamb rank amongst the quarterbacks or wide receivers?
Sure.
Pretty great second tier guy. We're getting ready to draft for fantasy football next year. Where does CeeDee Lamb get taken?
First round, top 10.
Wow. I
agree.
I don't know about, I would say more like after 7, I'm good with him.
I think he took that leap, like where he's now in that, not like
I'd say late first, early second is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, he's not in the Jefferson, Chase, Hill tier, but he's in that, tier 1B.
Yeah. You think like McCaffrey, Jefferson, Chase, Tyreek Hill. I think somebody could take him on a flyer at the 5 spot, right? 5, 6, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing is he broke Michael Irvin's record in 16 games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
very, very, very impressive. And really all it took was just a little bit of change in the offense. And then I think the thing that impresses me about CeeDee Lamb the most is what he does with the football with just a little bit of space. How easy it is for him to create separation as soon as he catches the ball. I think that's really the marquee trait for all of these young guys that are hitting the league that makes them so special, right? Like for Jamar Chase, it's being able to change immediate direction and get upfield. For Justin Jefferson, it's the ability to get above a defensive back and then stretch the field. And I think CeeDee Lamb, where it makes him special, is he creates 2 steps of separation with one hand on the ball. I think it's not a thing you teach. It's just a gift.
You'll see people take him above AJ Brown next year. I think him and AJ Brown are right next to each other, and because I think you saw guys like Diggs and Adams, like they're down, for sure. And we'll see how it all shakes out, and where's Marvin Harrison going to go, shit like that. And nobody's going to take him that high, but I think he proved a lot this year.
Tank Dell,
yeah, sure.
That's a very interesting early second round wide receiver next year.
Be a flyer at that point, I think, but yeah.
I don't mean to shit on all this stuff that we'll have to talk about in the offseason, but I found it very interesting because of all the guys who took the leap this year, I think CeeDee Lamb was, among the tops.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point. Especially they drafted him top 12, right? Top 15.
He was like end of first round, early second. I think he's now. That's what I'm saying. I think he's now like top 8.
All right, boys. Next one, we actually forgot a 1 o'clock. I'm going to step away real quick while you guys talk about this one. I'll get your picks when I get right back. Jags Titans. Jags are 5-point favorites. Yeah, go ahead and lay that one out for us.
Todd, we have Lawrence, or we're still not sure about Lawrence in this game, are we?
Uncertain about Trevor Lawrence. He had very brief time in practice today. That's what I was just looking up here. What was his because it was initially concussion. He clears protocol, and now he's got this shoulder injury that's lingering on. Yeah,
he's playing.
They have. I mean, this is in Nashville as well. It's not like this is in Duval where you back on the crowd. This is a game where I think
not London. You mean?
Yes, it's not London. But I Tennessee is just banged up enough, but just fiery enough that I could see them pushing this game to late in the fourth quarter for an outcome.
The one thing I love, and we talked about this in the group chat, the NFL does a really, really good job of creating unnecessary drama for the last week because everybody's playing a divisional opponent. So whether or not you're in it or not, you at least want to play the spoils for the team that is. Mm-hmm. I certainly can live in a world where the Titans can win this game. I think Levis is, even though the stats don't necessarily back this up.
You're good Tannehill this week. Levis is hurt.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. That makes it a lot easier. But just to finish my Levis point, the stats aren't going to back this up, but he's passed the eye test for me for a second round rookie, where I'm I can see that guy slinging the ball in the NFL for years. Yeah. Just with how big he is, how hard he throws, he can run the ball. He's fearless. That kind of shit. I'm going to take the Jaguars here because I remember going to the Browns game with the entire, week leading up to it thinking, no way Lawrence plays. No way he plays. No chance. And he fucking does. If he's cleared concussion protocol, I am 99.8% sure that he's going to play in this game. And the Jags have obviously a lot to play for here. Mm-hmm. Give me the Jaguars.
Todd, who did you and Bobby take on this one?
I'm taking the Jaguars here as well because I do believe that I'm on the same boat as Aaron Hill here. I think that Trevor Lawrence will play, and that man had made a deal with the devil somewhere along the way where he just recovers insanely quick.
And instead of his solely traded turnovers.
Yeah. That's okay. And Bobby said Jags over Titans. Titans are booty cheeks.
All right.
I thought you were going to say he took the Titans. I was like, oh, we got a shot.
Yeah. All right. It all comes down to this one. For not just us, but for the AFC East as well.
Who'd you take?
I'm taking the Jags. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Sorry. I assume.
Yeah. Sorry about that. It all comes down to this for the AFC East on Sunday Night Football, the last regular season game of the year. Man, would you rather have it anyway? The Bills.
We were just talking about, Corey, while you were away, the NFL does just the best job ever of even that Jags-Titans game at 1 o'clock. Titans can play spoiler. I love that every game is a divisional game to end the season.
Yep.
So smart. The flex schedule for all of it. Like there's gonna be drama on Sunday, and like we said, when we're all chalk like this, there's gonna be some chaos that we're not even thinking about.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Todd, how are those Skittles?
These are peanut M&Ms.
I can smell them through my screen right now.
They're so good. They're so fucking good. All right, how do we do this fair? I already know who I'm picking.
I tell you what, write it down.
I have to type it out. I don't have a pen around me.
This is great podcasting, by the way.
This is fantastic.
Silence. Sorry for the 7 seconds of silence.
No, they'll be all right. They're all right. It's radio
fine.
gold. Radio gold.
Yeah.
Build to the moment.
It's an eloquent silence.
I'll go first.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
All right.
I already predicted how I thought this team was going to do this year. And I'm going to hit it on the nose if this happens. And what I said was Miami was going to hit their over. But I'm not going to bet that. I'm going to play them to win the division. That's a plus 420 bet. That's fine. And I got in early, and I remember listening to this back to today. I said, this is one of my best calls ever. I said, I got in early before the line changed. I took the Bills under 11.5. It's now at 10.5. Bills win this game. It's 11 on the nose. I have the Bills in this game. They're peaking at the right time. I predicted, I didn't think they were going to be this good.
There it is. There it is.
So really,
Chargers fan.
Comes down to Chargers team.
This sucks, dude. This sucks so bad.
It shouldn't though, because there's going to just be nothing going on in that game.
God damn it!
It's going to take the under. No, but really, like, and I had made this comment a couple weeks ago, like, and it tied in very well to the college championship, right? Let's do the selection committee. Even though the Bills had a rough start to the season, one of the last teams I'd want to play. The other thing I want to point out in this, the Bills are playing for the division or potentially being out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Entirely. I have never remembered a situation like that. At the very least, it's like, all right,
not just the division, Aaron, the 2 seed.
Yeah.
Right. The Dolphins have already secured a playoff spot. They're in. The difference to the, like, I was probably going to take the Bills anyway, but for the boneheaded move, and you want talk McDaniel, fine. I still think he's a really good coach. It's really hard to defend Bradley Chubb being in there at the end of the game.
I agree.
And now being out for this playoff run, regardless of whether it's the division or not. For the Dolphins, hey, this game's in Miami. That's at least a good thing. You remember this last year with the snowballs?
That was so awesome.
Yeah, that was sweet until they had to stop the game and they're like, hey, Buffalo, sober up. And they're like, no.
What's that mean?
I'm going to take the Bills here. They're playing better football.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing. At the beginning of the year, said the Bills would hit the under and win the division.
Yeah, but you also locked the under, so this will be interesting.
Yeah. You can go back and play it.
You said they could, because we had no idea how this division would go.
So, but if I lock the under and they win, the under still hits, right?
Yeah, because it was 11.
It was 11.5.
No. It was 10.5. I was saying when I had bet it like 2 weeks prior, I got the line at 11.5, and I remember saying I bet the under at 11.5, but 10.5 that's why I took the over, and I was like, it's gonna be 11.
Yeah. Interesting.
They go back and dial that one up. I sound real smart.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being that we both have it. I kind of want the Dolphins to win now, so I can get this locked.
Wrote down, dude.
Yeah, but we both have it, so I'm fine with it.
What do you say? Oh, yeah.
I want to be wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
If the Bills win, you all but certainly win the season long over under. But I will cash my Dolphins division winner bet. So I'm like, all right, fine, fuck it.
I'm curious as to how many, like, does this pick matter for Todd? At this point, do we have enough different? Todd was what, you were 2 games back, Todd?
1
game back, you silly goose bitch.
I got the Cardinal Seahawks.
You got the Cardinal. Oh boy, you got the Cardinal.
Do you want to make it 2-game discrepancy?
That would be tie.
Wait, you didn't write yours down? That's
he's also got the Chargers. So that
I thought Todd also wrote his down.
Yeah, Todd, who you got?
I got the Bills. I can't. I'm willing to be in third place. I'm willing to do that.
You could tie if the Cardinals win and the Chargers win. You and I would tie.
Right. I don't like a tie, but I'm also.
We'd figure something out.
Yeah. Well, you'd win the head-to-head because your lock records are better than mine.
Well, that's for the season long.
Is that how that would decide that?
No, I think we would move it to week 1 of the playoffs and let you guys.
Oh, okay.
But we're gonna all do that as well as a group.
Yeah,
but
I like
that tiebreaker.
I like that.
That's fair. It's very fair. Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins have lost Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb and have next to no pass rush now.
None.
And
Howard go down too.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, thank you. I forgot his name. Xavier Howard won't play in this game. Like nothing is in the Dolphins' favor. The only thing that's in their favor is that they're playing this game in South Beach. That's it. And what is Tyreek Hill's like? What 240 something yards away from 2K?
It's not. I mean, like, yeah, if there's someone that's going to do it,
but
fine,
but Mostert's like only 70 something yards away from like $500,000 because he was
injured. He was a late scratch last week.
Yeah. Cause he would have 1,300 totally, or like 1,500 total yards of offense, something in that ballpark. I can't remember the specific number, but Mostert and Waddle both have things in this game. Waddle's his catches, and then Mostert's his total yards.
Is Waddle?
That's for what I read, he didn't play. I know he didn't play last week, but he's the only person that I've seen that is truly out for the Dolphins right now is Xavier Howard. Everybody else is questionable.
Okay.
So the way I look at it, though, is like the Dolphins are in regardless of this game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have to answer to the fact that Bradley Chubb isn't. So like a guy like Mostert or like Waddle, let's say they're both
Hill
50-50. Hill's probably going to play.
Yeah, but like still like just the risk.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but a guy who actually carries a designation into the week, and I know Hill's been banged up throughout the week, and maybe don't.
He was in a boot today. I don't know if you. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw that. Yeah, so his house caught on fire today. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Of course,
or not.
It did.
And he showed.
Yeah, running around the carpet.
It's a good dad joke. He showed up to the house in a boot, and everybody was like, "What? Why is he wearing a boot for?"
Probably nursing that ankle still.
That's the ankle, right? Yeah, yeah. But that was it. The takeaway was not that his house was on fire. Twitter was immediately like, "Why is he still wearing a boot?"
Well, they know he can rebuild.
Yeah.
So, if the Dolphins lose, they go to Kansas City for first round of the playoffs. Is that accurate?
And if I'm if there's any year to play the Chiefs, it's this.
Yeah.
And didn't they beat who won the Germany game? Was that Kansas City that won the Germany game?
They did.
Yeah, because Tua played just
right at the end though. Like the Dolphins had that game.
Yeah, that's right. They were winning for 3 quarters and then they gave it up in the 4th quarter.
But it was also 8 time zones away. Throw that one out.
Right.
Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I think we're all on the same page here, though. Like the Bills, although we were all on their under for the most part, or at least whether it was the number or not in general, I think this is a back season for the Bills. They're peaking at the right time.
Also, I just want to say Josh Allen is not playing that great of football. and they're in the position that they're in. Everybody's like getting back on this landslide of like Josh Allen should be in the MVP conversation.
No, absolutely
not at all.
I don't want to play him though.
Yeah, right. I mean, like his elusiveness is fine, but like that's a guy to throw into an interception parlay for this week.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
It is. I would rather play the Chiefs right now than the Bills.
I would too.
Yeah.
I'd rather. Yeah, it's pretty much the Ravens.
I'd rather play the Dolphins. I'd rather
probably. I don't know. There's not that many teams that. I mean, I'd rather play the Chiefs than the Browns. I'd rather play the Chiefs than obviously the Ravens. I'd rather play the Chiefs than the Bills. I think the Dolphins scare me more than the Chiefs, just with their explosive offense.
Would you rather play? This is a good one. Would you rather play the Dolphins or the Browns?
I'd rather play the
Dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The reason I say that because it's offense versus defense.
I think that the threat of the Browns defense and just constantly getting good field position because their defense is so good, that scares me more than anything. That's where they've made their money in the last 6 weeks, is that they just capitalize on good field position all the time.
Yeah, I have more confidence in being able to stop Tua than I do being able to score against the Browns.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
And to me, it's like, because there's the scenario that the Bills can be left out of the playoffs entirely.
Yeah.
This is legitimately a playoff game for the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And what I think, if it's the Steelers, if they win.
Correct.
So this could all be moot by, Sunday night, but if the Steelers beat the Ravens,
which we all have, by the way.
Right. Yeah, we all picked it that way.
So here's the real interesting question, Todd. Who does Bobby have?
He's got the Bills.
Shit. Bobby's out. There's no way Bobby can win.
No way Bobby can win. He is at best in third place, boys. Actually, no.
At best second.
Yeah,
best second.
Yeah, so
I'll see all the basement.
Yeah. It's
no Chiefs.
Oh God, dude, this sucks.
A lot of chalk though, and I'm not surprised.
Sick,
well, there's so many games this week that you can't really fall the other direction. That's why I picked the Cardinals Seahawks game, because I'm just basing it off of momentum.
Yeah, I actually love that pick, dude.
Yeah, that's a momentum pick for me. Yeah,
not a crazy pick,
but it's like the poor man's version of Bills Dolphins, like we're just saying. Like the Seahawks have to win. The Cardinals, if they do win, now the difference is, of course, in this game, if either one of these teams lose, like draft position means nothing.
Well, don't forget the Cardinals also have the Texans' first round pick too that they could play with. They got that from
but the Texans are good.
Yeah, it's gonna be like
not like the Bears where it's like,
right.
Wow, shit, we got a first round pick.
Right. My point being that you still have the opportunity to pick in the first round if you have to move some.
And you have the ability to move up and down.
Yeah, you can trade both of them to go up if you needed to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. Even if they end up at number 6, if they really want Marvin Harrison Jr., or say Kyler doesn't end up being the dude, they can move forward.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that in the offseason, because I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is
the ball.
Yeah, I mean, obviously quarterback stirs the drink, but no one's trading out of that pick.
He's the best. He's the most talented player in the draft, I think.
I know you guys are up against it. I can stay up, but do you guys want to do a quick hit on the college football playoffs real quick? Or
sure, yeah, we can hit that real quick. Then I gotta wrap it over here.
We don't have to. We can save it.
Well, I mean, when are we do we get a week, or is it? It's not. It's Monday.
It's Monday.
Oh, it's Monday.
Yeah. So we kind of got to talk about it. Obviously, hats off to Michigan for handling Alabama in the way that they did. That was an awesome football game. Washington, Texas was a hell of a football game. We've got an interesting matchup in the national championship in that we've got a quote unquote traditional, if you will, style team in Michigan with hard-nosed defense running the football, and then you've got the explosive offense in Michael Penix Jr. and all the weapons that the Washington Huskies have running around on the outside there. First of all, let me just say, in an off year for Alabama, they still went to the college football playoff.
right. Right.
A year that we've said Alabama was not going to be good. They're out of the playoff or whatever. They went to overtime with the number 1 team in the country.
It was 2 bad snaps away from winning that game, by the way.
Yeah, and a horrible play call, in my opinion. I mean,
oh yeah, you're talking about the 4th and goal play.
Yeah,
that was a nightmare. So basically, what I heard about that is a derivative of the bad snap, because that was supposed to be a read option for Milroe, and that bad snap led him to just basically falling forward.
Yeah,
but
hey,
he also got sacked like 6 times in that game.
Yeah, they had some good plays, but hats off to Michigan. They ran the ball effectively. Obviously, Blake Corum with the 17-yard touchdown or whatever to win the game. Yeah, JJ looked good. Draft stock probably going up on JJ McCarthy. I'm, for the record, out on him, but I think a lot of draft stock is going up. I can still. I think I would be willing to alter that depending on what I see on Monday. Out of the Michigan Wolverines offense and his ability. Most of his touchdowns are like screens and 5-yard ins and where the receivers are making a lot of things happen. But I did see some good things out of JJ as well. I don't think it's any question who the better quarterback is, though, and it's not a Michigan Wolverine. Michael Penix is very, very talented. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and make my pick for the national championship. Guys, it's going to be Michigan. They're going to win the national championship. They have a better defense. Washington has not faced a pass rush like they're going to face. To be fair, Michigan hasn't faced a quarterback like they're going to face, though. That's the caveat to this is like Washington is going to be the best offense that Michigan has faced all year. It's not close. There's nobody in the Big Ten that is remotely close to what Washington has been able to do, but I think Michigan's ability to play defense, take care of the football, and run the football is going to allow them to control the clock, and it's going to allow them to dictate the style of play. It's going to be a lot of fun because we're getting that classic offense versus defense kind of thing here, but defense usually wins those, which is why I'm taking Michigan here. Todd, Aaron, anything?
Yeah, so I think that this will also be really one of the first times where Michigan can put up a lot of points, like consistently. Because you look at Washington's defense, they gave up 31. They gave up 31 to Texas, and there were a lot of.
Texas is a good offense, though.
That's what I'm getting to. Is they give up 31 to Texas, and Michigan's offense to me is maybe a half step behind Texas in the sense that Texas just they run a completely different pace of offense, right?
Yeah.
Michigan's going to eat away at minutes on the clock. That's what they do very, very well. But I think the best thing for me is that these cornerbacks of Michigan are going to get tested for real. Also, for like the first time where you're going to have a legitimate top 2 college football quarterback, and you have really 3 first-round talents in that wide receiver room for Washington. And
the counter for Michigan fans, well, we had Marvin Harrison Jr. and we handled them. Yeah, but this is a different. Yeah, this is Kyle McCord. This is a different quarterback here. This is the night and day.
That platform for Kyle McCord is a fucking nightmare. For Michael Penix Jr., this is 6 years of college football for Michael Penix Jr., right? This is what he's fought through injuries. This is what he transferred for. And that dude is going to sling the football unlike anything Michigan has ever seen. I'm actually taking Washington in this game. And I think this is going to come down to that if you watched that Oregon Washington game,
right.
And I'm not comparing Oregon to Michigan test, so don't get all worked up about me getting into this conversation here.
I don't think that's a bad comparison.
It's 2 completely different styles of football, but my point being is that Michael Penix Jr. got into the 4th quarter of that Oregon game and had fucking ice all over his veins and did not sweat any drive. And I think that this game, though. He did. JJ, that's the best.
Is what I mean.
Yeah, that's the best that he's played probably since before he got injured leading into the end of the season. And I think it was rest, right? He got a month to get his sea legs back under him. So there will be a lot of big plays in this game. There will be several just 40-plus yard monster plays off of either crazy routes or, Corey, you said it perfect. Roman Wilson's one of the best short yard route runners in college football, and McCarthy's not afraid to throw it to him in volume. So,
yeah, and that's the thing is like that Michigan's really good at doing is making it really easy for JJ. Like, I don't hate JJ McCarthy by any means, but like I don't look at him in the same way that we look at some of these other guys that are coming out this year. But I think he's done a really good job at his draft stock.
Like you said, he's raised his draft stock, but he looks like a college quarterback.
Yeah. There's like
Penix looks like a legitimate pro.
That's how Washington wins the game, in my opinion, is making JJ beat them. Like not like taking away intermediate routes and stopping the run game. Make him throw the football deep. Make him beat you that way. That's how you try and win this football game.
Yeah, that's what Ohio State forced them to do in the first half of that game, and then they gave them the opportunity to just keep holding onto the ball in the second half. But Tez, I hear you on the pressure situation, but these DBs have not seen Washington's wide receiver room before. There is no team in the Big Ten that has a wide receiver room like Washington does.
Yeah, so for me, a lot of this just comes like, did you guys watch both games like in full or at least most of it?
Yeah.
So
I watched them both.
The crazy thing to me is how both of them almost ended in epic collapse for the teams that won.
Yeah.
Michigan could have gotten the safety right at the end with the punt, and then obviously Texas coming down at the end there, and the cornerback making an amazing play too, by the way. I'm on the fence with this one though. I think Michigan, like, there's two different games that can be played here. Either Michigan comes out, their defense is stalwart like they've been all year, or Washington comes out and their offense is stalwart like it's been all year. I don't trust Washington's defense. I don't trust Michigan's offense, although I trust their run game a little bit more.
Blake Corum is one of the he's a top 5 college football running back. I mean,
exactly.
He is college football running back, right?
And they put the game on his back at the end too, and he he
had no problem. He had no problem handling the pressure. So that's the thing is you're looking at both sides of like dudes that just are just like cold-blooded, and I'm taking the guy that throws the ball over the air more than the guy that runs the ball down the field. That's where I stand.
I'm going to lean with you here. I'm going to take Washington as well, because again, Michigan wins this game with defense and running the ball and controlling the clock.
Right.
But if you keep Washington in this game, and even if you do that the entire time, and you have Penix with a last drive chance to win, even if you've controlled the game the whole time, Washington can win that game. Yeah. So I think it's really, really close. I'll take Washington. Penix is certainly, and we talked about JJ, of course, and I mean, Penix is improving his draft stock entirely. Obviously, he's got the injury concern. Of course, he's a 6-year starter. You know, he's not exactly a young buck that's going to be coming into the league, but boy, spins it.
He does, dude. Well. He's one of those guys too. Like, I think where age kind of falls into a team later in the first round that kind of almost benefits him, because there's not the transition time that you're going to have from a Caleb Williams or a Drake May integrating into the league. Michael Penix has been throwing the ball 300 times a year for 6 years.
Yeah.
And he's played in every type of offense that you can collegiately, really. I mean, he played in basically like a run first offense in Indiana for a couple of years. Now he gets to go to Washington to air it out for 40 plus times a game. He's turned himself into a guy that you're looking at a team like, I don't know, maybe the Vikings or something, where they get later into
What a finish.
What a finish. You're muted, Corey.
I had no idea what happened. I was like, hey, just let me know when you want to end this. And then all of a sudden it just started coming back. So,
and you came back as Bobby, which is even crazier.
Oh, holy shit.
What's up, Bob?
Hey, what's up, guys?
You're done, by the way. You can't win.
Oh, shit.
That's Todd. If you want to finish your point, though, but as like that's all to say, like this is shaping up to be like a great national championship.
Yeah, the last couple years have been kind of buns of national championships, and this one's got some teeth to it, boys. And really, I Michigan's got 40 seniors. I very likely a new coaching regime coming after this year. This is the blow your wad game. Really?
Yeah. And like if you lose as Harbaugh, it's like what else can you do at this point? It's like all right, like I've done it all. Like I've been to a Super Bowl, I've been to a college football national championship.
Yeah.
I mean
Michigan will remain. It will be very poetic if, as the Pac-12 dissolves, they win the national championship.
Oh, that would be so. Is Washington headed to the Big Ten next year?
They are.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they're on Michigan, and they're on Michigan's schedule for next year too.
Oh, yes.
Chill out, Randy.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's just ectoplasm.
Are you gonna deglaze that pan? Yeah.
I don't know that we're heading for this, but Corey, as you were away, the point I made was Michigan can have control of the whole game, but if you give Penix the last drive, I like the offense can get right there, and I would. This isn't really against Michigan as it is. I would love for the Pac-12 to end.
Yeah, that would be cool.
With them winning a championship.
That would be cool. It just makes too much sense for Harbaugh to get one after all the shit that went down this year. And
that's true.
Yeah.
He's been through it.
Oh, no. Yeah. Fuck him, dude. Such a cockhead. Yeah, he's such a cockhead.
Cheated.
Yeah, we cheated. Yeah, I feel zero sympathy for him, but they look good, man. Gonna be fun. All right, boys and girls, that's it for me and Aaron. It comes down to the Chiefs and Chargers. What the fuck? Yeah. All right.
When was the last time we picked this many correctly?
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert
are the same.
Stick. And
Catch it.
Todd needs the Chargers and the Cardinals to force a tie. Bobby is officially statistically eliminated.
Tez, it's not haters. You guys cheated.
Yeah, it is what it is. Let him have this one, Aaron. Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. All right, boys and girls, have a beautiful Thursday, an amazing Friday. Enjoy all the football this weekend and into Monday. For Todd, Aaron, and Bobby, I'm Corey. We will see you guys next week as we get into the wild card weekend of the NFL. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.